What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a review for Power Book 2 Ghost. This is season 1, episode number 7, and it's titled Sex Word. Alright, you guys, so without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review, shall we? Alright, you guys, so I'm going to start the video up talking about Milgram and Jabari, because there's scenes I kind of could have done without. So you guys know that in the canonical studies class, we actually saw, Professor Milgram, Professor Reynolds, and I can't remember what the other guy's name is, but they were in there. They were there to announce, the finalists that would be moving forward, toward this fellowship. So before they could do that, a guy comes into the class throwing condoms around because it's sex week, and the Qs are having a party. And, they're telling them, be in touch with their bodies. I'm like, these are college students. They know about their bodies. And Milgram and Reynolds, y'all know about y'all bodies too. You're sex hungry, whatever. So, after they, talk about the party and the everything, the party and the cues, all that. Before that, there was a boy who had a condom in his hand. I love brown skin Keisha's character, Brushandria. He said, you dropped it. She says, I only fuck with niggas who got MBAs and mortgages. So she asked them, are y'all going to let us know the 5 students that are advancing? So we find out who the 5 students are. We know Lauren is moving forward, and so is Brushandria. No Tariq. The other names I wasn't familiar with. I think 2 of them I did recognize. I'm wondering if one of them I'm thinking is the little white girl that Brushandria has been having a back and forth with, and then the other one I was thinking is that the other black kid in the class. So let's move forward. Let's continue to talk about Carrie and Jabari. So Carrie, this woman is so sex crazed, I just don't get it. So we see her, and she and Zeke are having sex with one another. So I'm just like, damn, I thought it was supposed to be a one-time thing. But at least she's not having sex with him in the bathroom this time. So Zeke wants to take Milgram to meet Monet. I'm like, wow, you are really stupid. Like, do you not realize that she could lose her job from having sex with you, and he's stupid. So she was like, no, what I want you to do is I want you to get ready and go to the party. So he was like, those young girls ain't got nothing on you. I'm like, dude, shut up. You pussy whipped already? Cool. So we later see Carrie as she's coming out of the shower, and she tells him it's free. He says, I could already be clean if you had let me take a shower with you. She says we would be otherwise occupied. So then he goes to take a shower. There's a knock at the door. She tells him, oh, that's just, the takeout. So she opens the door, and who's at the door? It's Jabari. So Jabari was at this restaurant that they used to frequent, and he got takeout and he brought it to her. And, did I skip something? I think I did. Yeah, I did skip something. So let me backtrack just a little bit. So Jabari earlier in the episode went into Milgram's office to talk to her about Tariq, and him noticing that she was talking to Tariq, and she says, well, I'm his advisor and you should respect his privacy. So then he asked her for a favor about his book, plagiarizing from an 18-year-old. That is sad. So then, he wants to work with her further. So she tells him to do something about these cards, which we'll discuss that in just a little bit. So Jabari, he showed up to her place with the takeout and with the cards. She said, I asked you to leave them on my desk. Now, she was being a hella rude, but he noticed he was looking at her TV and it was on Sports Center. And he was like, oh, it's somebody else here. So then he goes out to his car and gets in his car. He has his card for Tariq. He takes it, he rips it up, and then he takes another card, writes on the back of it, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? So then, okay, so yeah, so then later Jabari has, he texts Tariq about coming to his office early the next morning. So Tariq goes to his office and Jabari asks Tariq where was he, you know, in the morning the day before. Tariq was like, oh, I was in the library. He was like, that's interesting because the library was closed. So then he says, he saw him talking to Milgram, and I'm like, oh, he thinks Tariq is having sex with Milgram. Cool, got it. He's gonna be surprised to find out that it is Zeke. So then he said, while they're in his office, he offers Tariq another chance at this fellowship. Now, what he wants Tariq to do is he wants him to write a personal essay. He wants it to be about a relationship, maybe, and he wants him to give him detail. I'm like, that is terrible that you are literally sitting here ripping off a paper from an 18-year-old. So then we see Tariq and the others in their class with Milgram. So Milgram passes out the cards to them. Now what it is on the card is a secret that they have to keep. They have to partner up with someone. They have to keep the secret, and they have to use whatever the book they're reading. They have to get the answer from their they have to get the secret that way. However they did it in the book, that's how they got to get it. So while he's in class, he got a text from Braden to meet him at NYU, which we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Now, so Lauren and Tariq partnered up with one another, and I think I'll talk about Lauren. No, we can talk about Lauren and Tariq. No, we'll hold off on Lauren and Tariq for right now, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. But Lauren and Tariq partnered up with each other. So at the end of the episode, we saw the students. Each one of them went back to Milgram with their partner's secret. So Lauren gives Milgram Tariq's secret, but Lauren is like, I feel like he made this up. So Milgram reads it, and she's like, oh shit. She's shitting bricks. I know she was. So then she calls Jabari into her office, and he basically tells her he knows she's sleeping with Tariq. She says, I'm not sleeping with Tariq, but you are sleeping with your TA, and this is your handwriting. I could turn this in. I'm like, girl, shut up. Because literally, you had sex with Zeke in a bathroom. Do you know if that place has cameras in it? I really can't stand these two. Honest to God. But she threatened him with that, so he gonna leave her alone, I guess, for now. With Milgram messing around with Zeke, she's gonna get caught. Sooner rather than later, she's gonna get caught. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. And next, I'm going to move over to Davis and Saxe. So, Davis, he showed up to Saxe's office, and Saxe is asking him, like, what the hell are you doing here? And, he basically tells him, like, with Steve on my ass, if I don't, in court, if I'm not able to pull this off, my ass is good as fired. So that's if he doesn't do a better job. So he has to make it look like he's actually trying to convict Tasha. So they talk about who can they call to the stand. And, they were going down the line. He said Q. Then they went to Elisa Marie. Then they discussed, using Kate, which everyone at their name is not good help. Kate. And then Saxe says, well, what I really need is someone who knows the truth about James, but will say that Tasha is the queen pin. And that's when he come up with an idea of who he wants to use. So then we see Saxe, he goes and he talks to Paz. So he's telling Paz that he needs her to take the stand. Paz tells him, I'm not taking the stand. He says, well, if you don't take the stand, I can just subpoena you. It's really up to you. And she tells him, well, I can't tell you anything about Tasha because I don't know anything about the murder. She never told me anything. He says, and that's exactly what I need you to say on the stand. So then we do see Saxe in court. So Steve is sitting right behind him, and Steve is telling him that, he thinks that with this jury, which not one white person on the jury, it's all black people, he feels that Davis will just have these people eating out of the palm of his hand and getting Tasha off for murder. So Saxe says that basically there's a method to his madness. So Saxe calls Paz to the stand. So when he calls Paz to the stand, Tasha is sitting there freaking out. She's like, what the hell is going on? And Davis is telling her, like, chill, don't worry. So Saxe is questioning Paz. He asked her about the phone that she turned in. You guys remember, she turned in that phone that she thought was, a burner phone for James, but it was actually Tasha. So then, she's talking about the fact that, Tommy Egan is the one that killed, Angela. And, Saxe is questioning her about that. Like, how did you find this information out? She says, well, Tasha's the one that told me that. And then Saxe is like, well, why do you think Tasha would tell you that? Like, was Tasha still upset about what happened between James and Angela? Basically, he's trying to say that Tasha is the one that set this whole situation in motion. So then we see Davis. So Davis is now questioning Paz. And basically what it is with Davis is painting Paz and Angela as both liars, because we all know that Paz took the money that James left. So he's saying, okay, so you took the money. Did you ever mention any of this to the police? She says no. He says, so it could be safe to say that, you taking that money is just a way to pay you off to change your tune from saying, hey, James killed my sister. Oh, he's paying me off to say, nope, it was Tommy, and Tommy was working with Tasha. So Davis got that. So then we later in the episode see Davis. So Davis goes to Saxe's office. He's pissed off at Saxe. And he said, Saxe says he had to do it because he had Steve just coming down on his ass, so he had no other choice. But he tells Davis, like, I have a way that I can bring Tariq down. He shows him a file. And in the file, it's Epiphany, the girl that works at the strip club that's been distributing the drugs for Tariq and more so for Tariq. So then we see Paz. So Paz goes to the jail and she's talking to Tasha. She asks Tasha, like, when it came down to the money, did you tell me to do that for a specific, did you tell me to do that? Were you lying to me? And Tasha told her, no, like, I wasn't lying to you. She says, much like I've suffered, you suffered as well. So I was just looking out for you in the long scheme of things. And that's really where we ended with Tasha, Davis, Saxe, and Paz. Now let's move on to the crux of the episode. All right, you guys, so I feel like this scene is going to be a little bit lengthy because this is about Tariq. So we see Riley and Brayden. So they're in, Tariq and Brayden's room, and they're having sex. So Tariq walks into the room and he's like, what the fuck is she doing here? And Brayden's like, well, it's sex weekend. I didn't expect you to be back. Well, actually, I did expect you to be back. So, Tariq tells him, like, yo, when she leaves, hit me up and let me know she's gone. So once Tariq dips out, Riley, she's once again trying to figure out what happened when Brayden went missing. In the last episode, he tells her, I already told you, I was babysitting Trace. Honestly, she gets on my nerves. So when Tariq left, he went to go to Zeke's room to drop off a paper that he wrote for Zeke. And I would be more frustrated with Zeke than Tariq is showing, because they were supposed to meet, but Zeke is in his room. Zeke is more focused on, getting pussy and sports than his school. When you got Tariq who's doing your work, like, fucked up. So as Tariq is leaving, Zeke's room, Simon's husband shows up and he asks him, so why are there so many unfulfilled orders on the app that I'm behind helping you with? And Tariq tells him, well, there's some issues, but he's on it. So once he leaves with Simon's husband, he calls Monet and he's, tell Monet he's running low. And Monet tells him, like, shit, we both in a predicament right about now. Like, I gotta wait, so nigga, you gotta wait. So then, we see Tasha. So Tasha calls Tariq and she tells him that, she doesn't want him to come to the trial, that she wants him to lay low because his name was brought up in court, so it's not going to look good for him to show up to the court. So then, Brayden comes into the room and, Tariq is very skeptical about Riley, talking about, does she ever go to class? I'm like, no, because she don't even go to school there. So then, we later see Tariq. So Tariq texts Diana, seeing when the next drop is going to happen. And then, Trace comes in And Tariq tells him, like, the last time you came into my room, you took some shit that didn't belong to you, so run me my money. And Trey tells Tariq, like, I'll call the cops. And he was like, the cops work for me. Like, that situation that happened with you the last time, the reason why you didn't go to jail is because, again, they work for me. So then Trace mentions to Tariq the situation that happened at his party. You guys remember when Riley drugged him? She went in his pocket, got his phone. Trace thought that they were having sex, but she drugged him and she was trying to, keep tabs on Tariq. So, okay. Okay, so you guys remember I told you earlier that when Tariq was with Reynolds, he got a text from Braden to meet him at NYU. So while Tariq is waiting on Braden, he spots Riley and then he follows in behind her. So she's going to court because she had a court case about some weed that she had. And she says that her uncle is going to come and, he's going to be defending her. So Tariq is in the back, and then Tariq also notices when her uncle comes in that her uncle is Sax. So Tariq is back in his room. He's talking to Braden, and he's telling Braden what happened at his party with him and with Riley. Braden, however, believes that Tariq is lying to him, so Braden leaves, and he was like, you can ask Trace. He's like, I'm not going to ask Trace anything. So, like I said, Braden was leaving. So as he was leaving, Trace pulls him to the side. He's trying to warn him about Tariq. He says, yeah, I know he's a dick. And, he said he just told me some lie about, my girl coming on to him. He says, well, that shit is actually true because I actually saw it. So then we see Braden. So Braden goes to Riley. He breaks up with Riley. And Riley is telling him that, it's not true what they're saying. That actually Trace did come on her, which that is true. Trace did come on to her. And, she's like, Tariq is lying. He's trying to break us up and you know why. He says, okay, well, if he's trying to break us up, tell me the truth. Well, she can't tell you the truth because she was using you because her uncle wanted information on Tariq. So she can't tell you that. So, I realized okay. So let's talk about Tariq and Lauren real quick. Now, you guys remember earlier in the episode, I was talking about Tariq and Lauren being partners with this secret that they have that was presented to them by Milgram. So Tariq and Lauren actually went to her room after class, and she was like, just give me, tell me what your secret is so I can get that A, since you're not in the fellowship, you're not in the running for the fellowship anymore. And Tariq was like, nope. What you going? So he took her laptop, and they had a little, they had a little banter with each other. They were playing with each other. So while they were doing that, her door was open, and Malcolm walked into her room, just taking pictures of her. And she's like, "What the hell is going on?" And Tariq was like, "Nigga, you tripping?" So Tariq and Malcolm were talking to each other, and Lauren chimed in, and Malcolm's like, "Can't you see two men are talking?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" So Tariq was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave because this nigga is tripping. And he said, I'm not a nigga. And as Tariq was walking out, he says, later. He said, later, Lauren. Later, nigga. So Lauren in that scene broke up with Malcolm. So then we later in the episode saw when Tariq went back to his room, because he had left at one point, and I'll talk about why he left. So Tariq went back to his room, and Lauren was waiting there for him. She wanted to go to the Q party with him. So she then tells him that she broke up with Malcolm. So they go in her, they're in the room, they're making out, and Tariq, she was trying to, undo his clothes. And I'm gonna talk about that in just a few minutes. So she was trying to undo his clothes, but he stopped her and gave her the secret. He's like, this is what you was only here for. He's like, I thought I knew you better. She's like, I thought I knew you better as well. But when she left out, Tariq took his jacket off, and it was blood on his jacket, on his shirt, which I will explain that in just a minute. So when Braden returns back to the room, he apologizes to Tariq. He's telling him that he broke up with Riley. All right, and I think that is going to wrap it up for Tariq for right now. Yeah, so let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, and then the episode started with Kane. So we see Kane and some of his boys. They're at a church and they're robbing the church. And, when he said in the church that this is my motherfucking house, I'm like, ooh, not in the house of the Lord. Not in the house of the Lord. So then we see Diana and Drew. So Diana and Drew are together. Everett has texted him, and Diana asks, "So is he mad at you?" He says, "No, he's mad that you came up there and got me to come home." So then, not Diana, but Monet comes in and she tells them that they called. She got a call from Rico about the re-up, and it's coming in 2 days. So then Diana asks her, has she heard from Kane? And, Monet is like, no, I have not heard from Kane. And they're like, well, we need Kane for, this whole situation. Kane is the one that deals with that. And, she says, well, Drew will handle it this time. So once Monet leaves, Diana was like, we got to find Drew because him and Mama, they both stubborn as hell, so they're not going to talk to each other. So, Diana's going to go look for Kane. So Monet goes back to the room and she calls Lorenzo and she asks Lorenzo, did, Kane come to see him? Because anytime something goes on, she knows he runs to his daddy. So he says, yes, he did come. She says, so what did you say to him? He said, I told him that you're in charge and that he needs to listen to what you're saying. I'm like, ooh, you did a lot more than that, my brother. You beat his ass. You had his ass. You didn't beat his ass. You had his ass beat. So then we see Diana. So Diana goes and looks for Kane. So a girl comes to the door and she's like, is my brother here? She's like, no. She's like, girl, you lying because that shit that you got on, you can't afford it. The only thing that you can afford is that drink that's in your hand. So Kane, she screams for Kane. Kane comes down and then she notices his face. She's like, what happened? He says, don't worry about it. Go home. So Diana tells him that, we need you because, Rico them called about a drop that's going to happen in 2 days. And she says, will you come? He says, okay, I'll come, but you can't tell, Mama where I'm at. So Monet is talking to Drew, and she's asking him if he's talked to Kane. He says, I ain't talked to Kane. She says, well, did your father tell you anything? He says, I haven't talked to him either. So while she's talking to him, Diana comes in and Diana tells her, well, I know where Kane is. He said he'll be there. And she says, well, where is he? He says, I'm not telling you. And then, the whole family, it's like the whole family just dismisses Diana completely. I really felt bad for her. So then we see Kane. So Kane is going out for a walk. And while he's out for a walk, the cops pull up on him and the cops arrest him for the robbery. Because when they robbed the church, one of his guys took their glove off and he had a tattoo on his hand. So the guy that the priest, and I guess that was his son, the son noticed the tattoo. So then we see Monet, them, they're doing this drop. So, they're getting ready for the drop. So Monet is worried about Kane. And Diana says, Mama, don't worry, he's going to show up. He told me he'll show up. So when Monet walks out, Diana calls him and she calls him. Now, when she called him, it went to his voicemail, obviously. And then she got a text message from Tariq. Tariq is asking her about the drop. So then Diana tells him, okay, hey, can you come down to the bar? So Tariq shows up at the bar and, he and Diana are talking. Now, while they're talking, he got a phone call from Milgram. She is just annoying as hell. So while Tariq is talking to Milgram, Diana goes through his bag. She notices the condoms and then she sees, the paper, the card with the secret that, a teacher is fucking a student. A teacher at Stansfield is fucking one of the students. So Monet then texts Diana asking her about Kane. And, Diana says, well, should I come upstairs? And Monet tells her, no, stay downstairs. So then we see Kane. Kane is over at the precinct. He's making phone calls and he's not able to get anybody. It's going to voicemail. So then we see him make another phone call and someone answers. I'm like, he wouldn't be that stupid to call him. I mean, the dude just told you last week, don't call me if you need help. And I'm talking about Ramirez, you guys. So we see Tariq and Diana. So Tariq tells her that, when she came to his room, that he wasn't alone, but it was Braden's girlfriend in the room. And, he didn't know if, this was something that was set up by Monet. So he was just trying to play it cool. And he also tells her that there's nothing going on between he and Lauren because Lauren has a boyfriend. And he basically tells her that he does like her, but there's so much shit going on in his life right now. So upstairs, Monet, she's dealing with, the connect that's selling her the drugs. So she's trying to get some cocaine from him, but she's short. So when she told him that she's short, this nigga got the box opener and trying to come after, trying to attack her. So she hits his ass, and then when he gets up, she pulls her gun out and boom, shoots him, and then boom, shoots him head. Telling him, I'm the wrong bitch to fuck with. So, now they got to figure out how to get rid of this body. So she says, have Drew do it, because Tariq was like, I'll take care of it, and Monet was like, no, and Diane was like, well, mama, I feel like we can trust him. So she says, okay, when Drew gets here, you and Drew clean that shit up. So then we do see Drew and Tariq, and they're getting rid of the body. So Drew wants Tariq to hold the body while he shoots through the windshield, and Tariq was like, hell nah. I don't know what Drew said to him. So if you guys know what Drew said, let me know in the comment section below. But Drew eventually shot through that windshield, and when that blood splattered all over Tariq's face, I was like, ugh. So we did find out that Kane did call Ramirez, and Ramirez gave him an alibi. I'm like, oh, okay, Ramirez, I see. So Ramirez is talking to him about, Monet, and, Kane was like, shit, Monet don't need you, and she don't need me. Like, Monet got a new operation up there at Stansfield, and she's using that little nigga Tariq. So we see Monet, she's going off on Diana, and about Kane. She's like, well, mom, I don't know what happened because I called him, nothing. So while she's going off on Diana, in walks Kane and Ramirez. So Ramirez tells Diana and Monet that Kane got arrested, and she's like, what'd you get arrested for? And he told her. So then they tell Kane about what happened with, the connect. And he was like, well, where's he at? Let me handle up on that. She's like, it's already been handled. Drew and Tariq did it. And Kane was looking at Ramirez like, see, nigga, told you. She done moved the fuck on. So then we do see Monet at the end of the episode. Well, this is the end of my review. Monet called Lorenzo saying, he went too far with Kane because she noticed his face. And, Lorenzo saying, well, I did what I had to do. And she tells him, don't do that shit again. I'm like, oh, shit. Monet got some balls. Monet got some balls on her ass. But you guys, that is the episode review. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else, and share this video. Until the next one, you guys, do me a solid favor out there. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Socially distance. And until next time, you guys, later. I'll see you guys later tonight for Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Potomac reunion. Also, you guys, drop down in the description bar from, my affiliate links. Drop down. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.